you can assume that mostly all of them are already working on it.
Just not publicly saying it.
Yes, we're working with a lot of them, but we really respect our NDAs, so we're not breaking the news on any of them and saying we're working with them just to get, the clout. We really want to make them feel comfortable, do their testing, do their projects. We're working on real projects that big companies and studios are doing, and we just want to make it their decision when they want to say it out loud. But honestly, I think this year is going to be interesting, and then beginning of next year, there's going to be a lot of announcements.
Firstly, those were some incredible presentations. I'm curious, Eline, specifically, you just mentioned you're speaking to studios, broadcasters, actors in Hollywood, estates. Hollywood and the film business and TV businesses are still grappling with what this means. It's still an ongoing conversation, of course. And there's naturally fears and excitement on both levels. How have you, each of you, in the last 12 months, seen those conversations change when you're talking to clients?
Incredibly so. So we started out we were invited to most boardrooms in probably February time, and everyone's like, no, this is nothing. This is not going to happen. And then I think by May, everyone was like, we need to do something with you guys. And, and now, also with Tilly, when we first launched her, people were like, no, that's not going to happen. And now it's, we're going to announce which agency is going to be representing her in the next few months. So yeah, it's all changing, and everyone is starting to see the light, fortunately.
Yeah, I remember I had meetings with the studios as an AI artist before I joined Luma in November. And some said, oh, no, we're not using AI. And some, I knew that they were lying because they were already secretly working on some stuff. But some also were not open to it at all yet. And then definitely this year, kind of like March, April, people called me and wanted to talk to me. We're discussing, being a liaison between A++ directors and the AI artist, speaking that creative vision, because at that time I've been traveling around a lot and educating about workflows and pipelines and how it can be integrated. And then that all of a sudden was becoming very interesting to them. And it was a different language for them. So they were like, oh, we really have to get people from the outside that have worked in the AI industry. And, historically, the studios are very slow to adapt, at least publicly. So they need that influx of new creatives and also new creative technologists to come in and actually show them how it's done. And now,
because for me, the things that kind of just flash into my mind when you're saying this and looking at, especially now with the kind of real, with Tilly and looking at how real these people look, these AI avatars. Transparency for me feels like it's got to be, as we're kind of navigating this on we haven't walked on this terrain before. It seems to me that transparency is going to have to be really, really key in this. Because Tilly's Instagram page, which I was looking at, it doesn't really say she's an AI actor right away on her Instagram page. She looks so real. But then when you look at some of the posts, it does say that. Why do you feel that, where is this issue lying? Like, what point do you think people are using this tech and it's going to benefit their business? Why the fear right now? Why can't we just start being open and honest and transparent about it? Because the tech seems to be moving very, very quickly. What are your instincts when you're talking to people and they say, well, I don't want to say that we're using this, but we will?
Oh, I think it should be transparent. We are very happy to say. I think I put 100% AI generated on every single one that was.
Yep.
And it will be the same as drama reconstruction. You know, back in the day, we used to say drama reconstruction, just in case you thought it was real. And that'll be the same with this. And I think in a couple of years' time, we'll know everything as AI, so it will be different. But yeah, I think there's no problem with saying what it is.
But companies you work with don't want to talk about this now.
Nobody wants to take the heat. That's the problem, right? Because if you're the first one, you might encounter some resistance, right? Even though it's helping your production, actually it can help a lot of people. I personally believe in the power of the people. So for me, love to help the studios, all wonderful, but I want to help the creators and the creatives that have been historically shut off from any, studio production because they've had a story that might not have been as palatable for a studio executive or is interesting. And I wanna give them tools to tell their stories, right? That is something that I'm passionate about because if you look at the landscape, not only has Hollywood been a very tough field in the last years, with the strikes and with the fires and all of that, and budget cuts and the platforms, not paying much for the content, but also it has been a not very diverse arena. And these tools can really help do that, right? Now, why do students not want to be transparent? Well, because it looks like they're going to go away with all of the humans and replacing all of the human workforce and the creatives. That is not the intention. However, there will be changes. Somebody that doesn't know how to use an AI tool, it's like when Final Cut came out, if you only worked in Avid, that might have at some point created a problem for you because you need to hop on this new technology. If it's Final Cut or Adobe Premiere or DaVinci Resolve, as an editor, you have to grow with the tools because they're also giving a lot of opportunity. And so there will definitely, I would assume, some cuts for people that are in the space, if it's editors or visual effects artists and general creatives. But I think there's a tremendous opportunity.
I think I'm under 100 NDAs right now, but that's because the projects are still in development, and I think that's okay. I think they will. Don't worry. We'll let you know when they're ready.
I mean, obviously, a lot of people that are in this room work in the traditional space, right? So I'm sure I would be speaking for many of them when I kind of raise concerns about fears of what this is going to do, even though I see the amazing advancements that it can do for films, particularly for independent projects. But I am curious in terms of what are the conversations you're also having in terms of IP retention and where are the guardrails that you guys, for instance, with your podcast, the clip that you just showed, you used a character from Sesame Street. You used Bert. You used a character from, I know that was for a presentation, but you used a Ghibli character for a face. Ghibli's been very, very vocal about, not being on board with this and kind of they're concerned that their art is going to be used and repurposed when it hasn't been cleared. Obviously, it's a bigger, wider issue than just one specific company, but it's a major one. So how's that going to look?
So for this particular one, the task was to see how certain characters work. There was a specific task that I can't go into it, but what we're trying to do is really enforce and also encourage to create original IP. That's what our art director, Jay Lee, did with all of these drawings, to really create new IP that you then can copyright and use. But yes, there are guardrails, and Luma AI definitely is a proponent of making sure that those IPs from different artists or studios are not used for, new other content. And I think there's a twofold responsibility. One is with the tool makers, and then one is with the artists, right? So if I'm prompting Spider-Man as, fighting with Batman, I'm obviously infringing on an IP if I'm then going to go out and sell the project. I mean, I don't know who would buy that, but so I think it needs both players to adhere to that.
We only believe in creating wholly original content. That's really key to what we do. We actually believe that with the AI, we can do that more so than a director or producer, who has only watched, 100 films as opposed to a billion. And so there's a lot of checks in place where we check all of our prompts, we check all of our output against a database more so than we used to be able to in the past. So actually, the wholly original output is more likely using what we put in place. And then we still very much need the creatives, the director and the producers and the DOPs and the writers to work with the tools and keep that humanity at every point. And I also really strongly believe that it should be us, the creative industry, that should be leading the charge on this alongside the tech industry. But instead, this part, the putting it all together with the tools, should be coming from our industry and not from the tech industry. So, and I think we are succeeding at that.
Yeah. It's totally fascinating. I have so many more questions, but we're unfortunately out of time. But thank you so much, both of you, for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before I begin, I would love to see how many of you have used AI tools before. Oh, okay. Apart from ChatGPT and Claude, have you used imaging or video models before? How many of you? More than I thought. I love that. Okay. So then you might have heard of Luma AI. We are a research and product company that specializes on world building. And we do that with multimodal intelligence, where we basically make tools for creatives to tell their stories. And I'm going to show you a lot of wonderful examples in a second. But on top of that, Luma AI decided this year to not only make the tools, but integrate creatives in the whole tool-making process, which makes sense. If you only have researchers and engineers building tools, they can't really know what creatives need. You need a filmmaker. You need storytellers, writers, directors, DPs, visual effects artists, editors, all of these people to help them understand what we actually need. How is our process? What does our workflow look like? And that's why we started DreamLab LA, which I'm heading. So I'm heading this R&D space, basically, where we are testing the tools, giving feedback, and also educating people. We're educating studios. We're helping building out their workflows for projects or their whole AI departments. And these are our products. So Dream Machine is when you go to our website, Dream Machine is basically the platform where you enter to get to Photon, which is our imaging model, and Ray 3. We just launched it last week, which was super exciting. And we're going to go through a little bit of what Ray 3 tackles that you can implement in your workflows in your filmmaking process. Pre-production, post-production, and the production itself is part of what we are trying to tackle with our tools. And in order to show you what we're actually, what the capabilities are, I want to show you first the teaser trailer of Ray 3 from last week.
When you close your eyes, what do you see? When we talk about reality, how do you know what is real? Or what is simply your imagination? Now open your eyes.
Thank you. Our marketing team worked effortlessly on this one until the very end of the launch to get this done, and I think it turned out really well. What you saw in this particular video was most of it was created with images. So first text to image, creating the images, and then with keyframes. Some were made with just a start frame or just an end frame, and then some were created with both. Now, what you see here is basically Ray 3, this newest model, is even better in adherence and interpolation between start and end frame. Style adherence, so if you have an image, in order to translate it to a video, the Ray 3 is even better at getting everything right from, you see the aesthetic markers over here, the lighting, the overall aesthetics, the realism of the character, all of the things that are very, very important for us filmmakers when we have a vision and we have a visual and we want to make this adhere as much as possible to our vision. This one is a really fun one. So if you have an image, you can actually annotate, so scribble in it and make arrows, tell the model what to do, have the cow flying up or have the people turn, and it will understand that, which is very, very interesting for designers, especially motion graphics designers, all of these people that are not so used to just writing prompts. So one of our missions is to kind of go away from the, you have to write a text, you have to write a JSON prompt, because it's not very intuitive, and we want to make filmmaking as intuitive as possible. Because honestly, in the end, as a filmmaker myself, what I actually want to do is, I want to just have the camera and move in the space rather than describe it with words how the camera is moving. It's a very tedious process, and we want to make sure that we can help with that. One of the most exciting things of this new model is that it is an intelligent model. So if you put in an image, you put in a prompt right now still, as well. You could also not put in a prompt. It depends on what you want. For this particular one, we wanted the green light to change to a red light and then an earthquake happening. And the reasoning tries to understand and kind of like course correct as it's creating. And as you can see, it did a pretty good job with understanding, okay, this is the sequential order, this needs to happen, and did a pretty good result of that one. Now, personally, this is something that I've been waiting on for a long time. So for some of you that have created AI visuals, you might have noticed that sometimes you run into the problem that the dynamic range is totally off, the contrast is way too high, and you can never color correct those images. So with our Ray 3 model, we are actually able to create HDR up to 16-bit, and you can export an EXR file as well. So all of a sudden, you have higher dynamic range. You can actually work with the footage that you're getting out and color correct it how you want to. And then lastly, draft mode. For some of you that might be more the people that re-roll and re-roll and re-roll and re-roll, this is going to be a fun one, because draft mode is going to be it's very fast, so it takes about 20 seconds for the video to just generate, and you can run a bunch of them, get it in a smaller quality in 360p, and then you can up-res it afterwards, which just gives you the opportunity to run it as much as you want in a very, very short time frame and for less money, and then you can decide on which of the shots do I actually want, where's the character doing what I want, and then up-res those. And lastly, another one that Ray 3 or Ray 2 already had, our previous model, and now Ray 3 as well is, and that is especially helpful for, I would say, archival and social media, is whatever aspect ratio you have with our model, you can actually change it to a different aspect ratio. So what it does is it actually outpaints the picture. It creates more information around the image, and that makes sense. And you get any aspect ratio and any output that you want, which is very, very handy. this was another video that our partner Silverside did for the Ray 3 launch. And I love it as an example because they did a really good job with character consistency and just overall realism, which was lovely and wonderful. Now I want to talk about another feature that we have. It's not in Ray 3 yet. It's in our older model, but it's going to come very, very soon. And this is something that I'm very passionate about because it shows so clearly that the creator and the creatives are still very much needed in the process of filmmaking in AI. So we, as a company, we're very much invested in helping creatives use the tools and be included in the process and just really have AI just be something that helps you actualize a vision. For this particular one, John Finger, our creative workflow executive, was goofing around, acting and then changing himself to a bear, or doing a very rough drawing of a bird and then creating a real bird. This is a fun example for 3D, for Blender, Maya, any models, any programs that you want to use to create 3D and visual effects, where you have the grayscale and then just basically use the first frame of that, retexture it, and then create a, so to say, a rendered video of it, which can be very, very helpful in production. Here's some other examples. So something that we're also very passionate about is really creating a creative expression. For instance, on the very left, you see our art director, Jay Lees. She drew this painting of him on top of him, and then we animated him with the driving video of John, which is really, really helpful when you try to copyright your projects to show the human interaction and the human creativity. So this was a design that she did that you could copyright and then, use the video that you're making just as a driving performance. There's some other examples, changing into a monkey, meerkat, capybara, whatever you can and want to do. There's some really fun ways of goofing around and figuring out how can we use it actually for motion capture. This next one is a kind of like a podcast mock-up that we did that also shows of some of those examples of how can you use our modified video tool to create podcasts, to create reenactments in a fun way.
Everyone's making themselves into babies in podcasts now.
See, I haven't seen that.
That's wild to me. So basically, people take the people in the podcast doing their normal podcasts, but then make them into babies.
People can turn themselves into basically anything that they want to.
Yeah, or even you could draw in what you want yourself to look like and then puppeteer that character.
We can manipulate basically anything in your shot.
You can also reenact a scene that you described.
So the other day, I was going to the grocery store. I had gotten all of my items and noticed that I didn't have my wallet with me. But I was like, well, I have Bitcoin. That should work, right?
Yeah.
And the cashier looked at me like,
who uses Bitcoin?
No, that's a new thing. Have you not heard of it? And the guy was like, where the money? Where the money at? Take it or leave it. I got Bitcoin. I showed him my phone.
He took the phone and was like, this is great. I have a new phone now. So that all said, you just have a lot of flexibility in your creative experiences.
Shooting something, you have a real performance, you have the real connection, interaction, which the audience will feel. But on top of that, you can add layers.
Yeah, you can creative direct the first frame is basically the idea.
And here are a couple more. With this particular one, we basically John was walking in Venice Beach and created an audience. And on the left one, which is very interesting, is he just basically drew a red blob on a video that he had, and then it actually shows the shadows of that little guy as well, which is very, very hard in visual effects to actually get this done with just a blob. So that was a very great test for us to see if it works. We like to use, as I said earlier, drawings and really create our own IP, and then enhance it with AI. And we also like very tactile mediums. So the right one is a claymation or a clay figure that John made, and then put him in a movie. The left one is Jay's, our art director's, vision of little characters that just goof around with us. And the integration in real life footage is really, really wonderful to see that it actually works. And looks pretty good. This one is one of my favorites right now. So one night, John and Jay thought about how could we use our little mannequins that we have and tell a story. They ended up only using 12 frames. You see them, take pictures of all the different poses, but in the end, they only used 12 frames to create this video, which is pretty amazing. And then in the next step, what I want to try is use this video of them fighting and map real characters on it, like animation characters or even real people, to see if it would hold that character consistency in the motion that they're doing, which is very, very complex, as you can see.
Excuse me, miss. Do you know where the cookie store is?
Sir, why are you wearing a giant gorilla suit?
Well, I just wanted to get my jest on,
You know, we have a rule here at the bakery, and it's no gorilla suits allowed.
Oh, that's okay. I've got something on underneath.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, I don't have something on underneath.
Oh no!
This probably doesn't make a great video to video.
So this was an interesting experiment because we wanted to see how can we have improv. So how can we have an actor come in? We're doing a little improv session. They just came up with this on the fly. And then how can we take that performance, the speech, and then with our mannequins even, a little bit of claymation, so to say, and make a movie. And that was the result of that one. Our newest addition to the team is a 3D artist. And the first thing that he wanted to do is he had this 3D model that he used for a project before that he wanted to see how can that now integrate in 3D, in AI footage. So what you see on the right side, on the lower right side, is he first created a person running away, and then he implemented his 3D footage in it, his 3D model into the footage. And it was kind of like a multi-layered process. So first he had to kind of add the model. Then he ran it again through keyframes. So first frame, got it to a good point. Then he added, the dust and the explosions in another prompt for the next frame. And in the end, it was probably, I would say, 3 to 4 re-rolls to get this particular scene working the way that he wanted to. And then the upper one is basically he wanted to see, okay, if I use and if I make a 3D model in Maya, in Blender, but I'm not going to texture it the usual way. I'm actually going to use AI as the render engine to create, to render the textures and make it look realistic. Would that work? And that was the result of it. He actually, this morning, he showed me a video where he also added a large group of people in front of it. So he's still layering onto it. You can see it on our social media. He's posting about that. But it's a very interesting test that we're doing. Before I show the next one, I want to say that one of the big parts of DreamLab LA is, so we're testing the tools, we're giving feedback, we're educating, but another one is really being there for the community. And in the past 2 years, we've built an incredible AI community in all over the world. Particularly, we are in the United States, but I've been traveling around a lot to all these places, and there's so many incredibly talented artists. And I wanted to highlight one of them that for the Ray 3 launch did an amazing project, really I think they did it in a day, which is insane, and I would not say this is doable in a day, but he was with a team. But I wanted to highlight him because we're very much about highlighting the community, supporting each other, and really showing off their creativity.
Al principio, todos adoraban al sol. Pero luego algo cambió. En otro tiempo, quizás en otra galaxia, en otra dimensión, los humanos descubrieron bestias que el universo había ocultado. No las temieron, no huyeron, decidieron convivir. De su miedo nació respeto, del respeto, hermandad. Aprendieron a domarlas, a correr con ellas, a cazar con ellas, a soñar con ellas. Y juntos, bajo el mismo sol que alguna vez veneraron, se convirtieron en maestros.
And this is a QR code that you can take a picture right now. I wanted to give a little gift for all of you that you can part with after this festival and really try it out. I think you can actually sign up today as well if you want, but definitely by October 3rd. So it's a plus monthly plan for a month of trial. Don't forget the coupon code, that's very important. And you can just sign up and try out our new model and let us know on social media what you're producing, what you're passionate about. We're always very interesting to hear feedback from the community because that's going to make the tools better. And there's a lot on the horizon on what we want to develop. And we want you to be a part of it.
Thank you so much, Verena, for this. It's just mind-blowing. Eline Van der Velden, CEO Particle 6. Please come up on stage.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Let me tell you the story of Particle 6. So we're very different to what Verena does. We can start with the first slide. There we go. It all started with comedy. Oh, I can click it myself. There we go. So back in the day, I was a comedian, and I made lots of stuff on YouTube, and eventually got picked up by BBC Three, and lots of these, videos went viral, and we got over 1 billion views. And I had 5 shows on the BBC, but nobody would take the commissions because the digital tariffs were so low, and so I had to start my own production company, Particle 6, about 8 years ago. We made lots and lots of viral hits, digital content for all sorts of different channels, and then started venturing into drama and scripted content. We also did some education of kids for Sky, BBC, Amazon Prime, you name it. And after 50 major productions, I had come to the UK to do musical theatre and comedy. And I'd also gone to university to study physics and computer science at Imperial College. And so I was always interested in the tech behind filmmaking. And then November 2022, the first ChatGPT came out. And I thought, yes, this is my moment. It's all come together now. And I stood up to the whole company. I said, we're going to be an AI production studio. And everyone thought I was absolutely nuts. And it was, using ChatGPT was like a bad intern, really, really rubbish intern. The context window was so short. But we carried on, and we've been training up for the last 3 years. And our idea is that in the 1920s, the biggest studios rose, Disney, Universal, Warner Brothers, to the top because of a new change in tech that was available. And that same moment is happening right now. And the next load of studios are rising to the top and will dominate for the next century. And we want to be part of that. It's not going to take my desire to create away. It's going to enhance it. And we have a new paintbrush in town. So how do we use AI? We don't just use one tool. We use loads of tools. And every single shot takes about 10 tools to make. And for us, it's not about making social media content or anything cool and creative that's going to go viral. No, it's about making the best stuff in the world and working and really help with the highest end of filmmaking, because that's where we can help take budgets down 50%. So, and also reduce the time of production by 50%. This is always being updated. It's completely outdated now. I used to update it. I've just completely given up because every week there's something new. And we were very happy to see the bit rate change last week. So that was really exciting. Let's see. So we're going to go through a few videos of our evolution in AI in the past year. It's going to start with sort of bad videos, and it's going to end on something quite good. So be patient. Oh, let's watch the first video.
Hi, and welcome to the Article 6 AI update. Let's take a quick look at how we've used AI in this past year. No jargon, just results.
We have spent a big part of this year working on AI characters. Whether they have been pre-existing or newly generated characters, we worked on making them into real-life avatars and then animating those avatars. Let's send our traveller on a trip around London.
We can also generate my voice and animate the avatar. How cool is that?
We can also take full control over the avatar's facial expression.
1, 2, 3.
Another area we focused on was creating digital twins.
We can create a digital twin with as little as a single picture, or we can make it more complex, like we did with Philip's digital twin.
Just like Eline said, I'm a digital twin. None of this is real. I am not real.
My voice isn't real.
And even this background isn't real. After the initial setup and voice cloning, we can just input the script and create content.
So, great. And also what I want to say is the creative is very much still needed. It's all about judgment and taste at this moment in time. And so I'm here to tell you and hold your hand, the new era of AI, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. We're going to enjoy it. We can also make animation. I mean, it's the exact same process as making photorealistic stuff. And then we thought, okay, let's make a few tests as to how this can apply to our current industry. First, we did some VFX. And we can all see how that might help reduce costs of any budget. Then we thought, okay, what about natural environments? How does that work? And it was getting better throughout the year. So this is probably like May time. And we started doing some previs. There's a lovely feature film that we were like, okay, with the exec producer Leonardo DiCaprio and Jane Goodall. And it was meant to film in Canada with 100 crew and lots of dogs and wolves and trainers, and it was going to be cold. And they said, can you do some previs for us? We said, yeah, sure. This was probably July. And we were like, oh, they thought maybe we just don't even shoot this anymore in the cold. We could just make it all come to life like this. And then we thought, okay, what about humans? Now they're the hardest, right? We've got a complexity rating in our AI system. There's environments, there's animals, there's humans. How are they doing? So this is a longer clip. This is just the first couple of seconds. You can watch the long one online, but we haven't got time today. So let's watch this one.
We all knew TV was dead, but thought, why not squeeze in one last development meeting?
We had one rule: no missing children, no dead women, and no reboots of Heartbeat.
And keep in mind, like, we're working with some of the top directors and top showrunners. We're working with all the major studios in the US and the UK and the broadcasters, but we can't talk about it quite yet. But so everyone's interested in this. So we thought, humans, that's going to be the next thing. I think by January, we'll have perfect humans. And so we're building a talent studio called Xicoia, which we broke the story about last week. And we'll be building the future stars or working with existing faces that want to be in, don't want to have scheduling conflicts and want to be in multiple films at the same time, and perhaps bringing back younger versions or older versions of themselves, or maybe they've passed away and we're working with the estates. Our first star is Tilly Norwood. Here she is. She's working really hard on her acting. She's getting better every day, training herself. So that's our first one. And then we also have a back-end system called Deep Fame that we're developing, where we develop her whole personality, sort of like you would a character in a drama script, where you make her soul whole. And so eventually, she is becoming autonomous. Now, to end it on, I'm going to put you a nice clip from one of our team that recently went viral, which really shows sort of where this is all going. And we are really excited about the creativity of this. The directors we work with love it. The producers we work with love it. The writers, the AI DOPs, we're all just thrilled. It's like a playground. We call it play. We're bringing these stories to life with this new paintbrush. I'm here to tell you it's going to be okay. And that's the quality that Particle 6 stands for.